Hello Sunshines, Ereg here. In this video I want to comment on my work process while creating an artwork like this. This one is a personal piece of my World of Warcraft character. The thing I wanted to do with this art is to showcase the newest armor set they've added into the game. With no plans other than that, I decided to start with a drawing of a pose and see what I can take it from there. This is how I really like to treat my personal art, it's just as an exploration. So you just start with a vague idea in mind, and then you kinda develop things as you go. In my opinion, it is just way more enjoyable to work like that. And not only enjoyable, I think this allows for a better outcome sometimes. For example, this piece might be the best artwork I've ever done so far. Yeah, despite being quite a simple and a relatively fast art, it is still, I think, one of the best, if not the best art that I've ever done. Or maybe the second best, because this one is also pretty good. And yeah, I don't know yet for myself. I'll have to think about it. But nonetheless, the process of exploring things as you go, not really knowing where you want to take the piece when you started, is a really good one, and I encourage for you guys to give it a try. Alright, so quite a few hours into this piece, I've already pretty much established everything. I knew that I wanted to have a sort of flame magma looking thing in her arms, a dark background and a light coming from the top. So nothing too crazy complicated, nothing in particular for the background, just a texture. For personal artworks, I really like to keep it simple. If it's a character piece, then I focus on the character and don't really do much of a environment in the back. Yeah, this is the thing that also contributes a lot to the enjoyment of me working on my personal art, is that I just really take it simple. Nothing too complicated, nothing too overwhelming, and there's so you just end up enjoying the process way more, while not having to worry about much things and just painting the stuff that you like. Also, since the artwork is that simple and approach is so straightforward, I always try to experiment with some stylistic choices or any techniques that I want to implement in my in my own workflow. This time around, I think I was obsessed with Kuraman art, and I really wanted to try to capture his idea of a shape language. I didn't really take it as far as he takes it, but I learned a thing or two. It improved this piece, and I took some knowledge moving forward. And this is how I really like to approach my studying other artists in general. It is just while you're working on your personal stuff, you take one or two things from someone else and try to understand how and what they really do, and kind of to implement it in your own piece right away. I find this being much more beneficial approach to learning other than just doing studies, and a definitely way more fun one. So here, for example, a few things that I took away from quote-unquote studying Guraman are making shapes out of surfaces if possible, and or making just shapes out of light and shadow areas too. So you kind of dissect your character or like background or any part of the painting into or almost like hard surface looking shapes and try to render them all individually. And as much as I like Goodman's art, I don't really want to implement it all the way into my artwork. Like for example, some surfaces I would love um, to keep them soft and more kind of like not as hard surfacey looking. But for things like rendering metal armor or hair, I really liked it, so I think I'll keep it moving forward. And this is how you study while having fun. You really just obsess about one feature of someone else's art that you like and try to implement it in your own. You almost like learn a new trick, and after a while you'll just have a lot of different tools that you can use to create your own art. And also you shouldn't really worry much about like quote unquote copying someone, because just look at this. As much as I tried, I didn't even come close to this resembling Goodman's aesthetic. Not even close. And I think as long as you're not trying to just straight up trace their artwork, I don't think you should worry about it. I mean, the fact is, it is actually difficult to copy someone else's style. And also, if you're just studying not like a couple of styles at the same time, like there are good chances that your art will never look like any of those styles in particular, just like mine. While working on this, I also paid a lot of attention to separating areas of light and shadow. Keeping your light consistent throughout the piece is how you get a lot of realism into it, and honestly, it contributes a lot to the overall appeal. I should also probably mention colors while commenting on the workflow here. Uh, so as you can see, they are pretty desaturated, and as a general rule of mine, I try to keep things as desaturated as I can, despite probably one or two key points in the painting. Mainly because I think that it's incredibly easy to just destroy your painting with just oversaturating it. But also, I just don't like the look of saturated shadows. So, as a general thing, I try to keep my shadows more desaturated than my lighter areas in a painting. Those are just some of my observations so far. I'm nowhere near what I want to be with my colors, and I'm just constantly experimenting, trying out different things. I would say that I definitely like the desaturated look that I have to my art currently, but it also feels like it misses something. And until I find it, I think I'll keep just trying out different things. For a simple artwork like this though, I think it worked out pretty well. Like having only one saturated key point and everything else kinda complementing it while being not that saturated, I think it's a good thing. I would also note that while working on this armor set, I didn't really try to capture it as it is in the game. And I've learned it over the years of doing commissions of many different characters and painting many outfits from different games. Sometimes those are just incredibly complicated, and instead of going for the appeal, you go for the straight up copying it. Um, and then the better thing to do would be just to kind of adjust maybe the shape, maybe the form of a certain armor piece to your liking, more to suit like the needs of current painting. So all you really need to do is just to establish kind of the key points that will so the viewer will be able to tell that it is exactly that armor piece from exactly like their favorite game. So just enough for them to be able to recognize it, and that's all. Same goes for characters too. I think you twisting things as an artist for it to look better for you will just result in a better art at the end. Rather than if you try to just copy things one by one, even if you didn't like how they look in particular. As I'm getting closer to finishing this artwork, I do some raindrops, some more effect, a little bit of glow from the fire on the bottom, just some finishing touches, highlights here and there, and there it is. 11 hours well spent, I would say. I hope you guys liked this one. I can't wait to do more art of my WoW characters in the future and share it with you guys. But this is going to be it for today. Thanks for watching and happy earning!